So help me understand. So I'm on the other side of the fence, interested in helping young people, particularly in the technology side of the world, because I think it's important for us to be viable as a business entity in Wichita, in the technology business. What kinds of advice would you give me to say, okay, you're an established company, you've been around for a long time, so what kind of advice can you maybe provide me where I can be more engaged in that process?
And this, I'm glad you asked that, because I've been trying to think about how do we help a lot of the entrepreneurs who may not have, for me, I know I'm charismatic, I know I can talk to people, but a lot of entrepreneurs may not feel that confidence of going and approaching. So I would say for business leaders like yourself, if there's a way to make yourselves more approachable, so it's not so much, here's the high-touch building, here's the guy who owns it, and the first thing we think of when we see that is, well, that's not the guy I'm going to be able to talk to. And if we could change that perception to, oh, and his door's open for you to go meet with him and have coffee. And I'm really not sure how we accomplish that here in Wichita. And I think that's really where, when I see my peers, they have that fear of how do we approach them. And then with the business guys, I know they're approachable because I've been talking to them now. But if you look at a website or something like that, it may not seem like it, or you may have to talk to the office receptionist or things like that. I'm not sure how we bridge that, but if there was a way to almost just paint a sign of "Come talk to me, please," I think that would help a lot.
Open for business, right? Open for business.
Yeah.
So, but is that what you're telling me though, that there's a problem in the community with that disconnect between those of you that are trying to do startups and foster ideas and those that are more established not really being engaged. It might be something that we need to think about because it's there. It's on my side, it's there, and I don't think we know how to engage with those of you that are doing entrepreneurial work either.
Yeah, I think it's both ways because we don't know how to reach out the right way that
well, if you
where we
provide
don't
us
feel nervous.
Enough coffee and enough breakfast or lunches or something, you
that's
know?
what I found works.
So as we talk about how young entrepreneurs can get in touch with and engage those that are already established in business, for me, I can only speak for me, I can't speak for other people, but quite frankly, I get so, by example, you guys are probably thinking of the digital media world and how you utilize digital media. Whereas me, I'm a face-to-face guy. I do not spend a lot of time on Facebook, I don't Twitter, and I don't like emails because I get so many of them, by example, every day. You generally just hit the delete button. And it's nothing against you, it's just that in our environment with so much activity going on in the world, I have to multitask. So you have to prioritize on the fly and think for a moment, well, what conversation do I engage in? And then you get a third email and a fourth email from the same individual, okay, they're pretty persistent. Sometimes I turn them over to somebody to say, really don't have time for this, but if you want to talk to them and maybe we can make time to get together personally or privately. The other way to do it is for you to say, hey, listen, I just spoke with Jeff Turner, by example. Jeff suggested I call you. Well, Jeff Turner's name is going to get my attention. Charlie Chandler's name is going to get my attention. If you've got one relationship, you can probably multiply that by 10.
I love that you brought that up because it just reminded me of our story of how we got our first big relationships. And we did that same process, which was I originally reached out to some of the younger established entrepreneurs. So for example, Carlos Fernandez with Clutch Studio. So he's young, but he's had a business, had a few. And he was much more approachable. And then from there, like you said, multiplied that by 10 because then that larger mentor had connections we were able to connect the dots to. So really, glad you brought that up.
When you get started, it's not what you know, it's many times who you know. to get that first step, get that, then that multiplies and divides, which is the way things grow. So I've even learned that in Wichita because I was gone for 30 years. So that would be some thoughts that I have on how you break through that conversational barrier. It's not hard to do, you just got to work at it at the beginning, right? So now when I see you going down the street, hey, right? Miguel, it was a pleasure meeting you today. And
Yes,
so
you as
happy
well.
to hear about your successes. Next time you're at E2E or in the building or something, just give me a shout.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it.